For this particular stonefly, we're going to start with a bead already on the hook. The first thing we're going to do is take our lead wire and wrap it around the shank of the hook so that it roughly covers half the length of the shank. When we have it all secure, we're going to push it right up underneath the bead head. And once your lead wire is secured to the hook, you can start by taking your thread and securing it on the shank of the hook, and then over the lead wire, securing it all to the shank of the hook. And once it's all nice and secure, snip off the excess thread. Now we're going to take our thread and wrap back on the bend of the hook, roughly to where your thread is lined up with the barb of the hook. We're going to add a little bit of dubbing here and create a little dubbing ball that's going to help with our split tail. Once your dubbing is on the thread, go ahead and create that little dubbing ball just at the bend of the hook. Once you've got it secure, we're going to start to add our tail. Select 2 pieces of biot and then tie them in, one on either side of the shank of the hook. Do this so they're roughly the same length on either side. And with the idea of keeping our body consistent, we're going to secure in the excess biot up the shank of the hook. Once secure, take your thread back to the bend of the hook and tie in our rib, which is going to be our 20-pound monofilament. Also tie in some tail flash right on top of the shank of the hook, along with some thin skin right on top of the shank of the hook. Once that's all secure, go ahead and add some dubbing to your thread, and then begin to wrap the dubbing around the length of the body of the stonefly, giving it a slight taper forward. Once you're roughly 2/3 of the way up the shank, take your thin skin and pull it over the top of the body we just created. Secure it down nice and tight. Once that's secure, pull the piece of tail flash over the top of the thin skin. Once your tail flash is secure, snip off the excess tail flash. Now, with your thin skin in place, take the 20-pound monofilament and start to wrap it around the body of the stonefly. This will create a nice rib for your stonefly. Once you've wrapped it about 2/3 of the way up the shank, secure it down and snip off the excess. Keep in mind that the size of thin skin, tail flash, and monofilament that we're going to use is relevant to the size of stonefly we're going to tie. Once we have the monofilament all secured down, snip it off, and we're ready to add our legs. The legs are going to be made out of hen saddle. Take a few fibers at a time and place them on each side of the shank of the hook, tying them in on either side. Try to make them roughly the same length. Once you've secured your legs down, snip off the excess hen sack, and we should now have legs for our stonefly. Now, with the idea of keeping our body consistent, we're going to add just a little bit of dubbing and wrap it around the shank of the hook, right in that body area. And then we're going to pull back the thin skin and secure it down. We're going to snip off the thin skin, leaving just a flap behind so that we have a little bit of thin skin sticking back. Now add a new piece of thin skin facing forward right behind the bead head. Secure it down. Now add a little bit of dubbing to your thread. This way we can build up the thorax of our stonefly. Once we have it nice and secure and built up, take our thin skin, pull it back, and begin to wrap in front of the thin skin but behind the bead head. This should cause the thin skin to sit back over the fly. Once your thin skin is secure, we're going to add another set of legs. These legs should be roughly the same length as the first set of legs. Tie your legs on both sides of the stonefly. And once your legs are all secure, snip off the excess hen saddle. And once it's all snipped off, snip the thin skin so that there's a small flap left behind. A few extra security wraps to hold everything down, and then whip finish. Once you have your knot in place, snip off the excess thread. And now you have yourself a stonefly nymph.